Alrighty, so let's take a look at this draft. So you guys have, this is your team, right? You have Phoenix, Li Ming.
No, our team's
Oh, you're on the other
on the
side.
top.
Oops, yeah. ETC, Tyrande, Blaze, Hanzo, and Raynor. Okay, Sonya, Anubrak, Malfurion, Li Ming, and Phoenix. So tell me a little bit about what would you say the strengths of your comp are versus the strengths and or weaknesses of the other team?
We've got pretty decent poke and CC if we line it up, as does the other team. I think they're pretty standard, even drafts against each other.
Okay, yeah.
I don't see much of an advantage at the draft, at least.
Okay, so the first and foremost thing that I'm noticing is that the type of damage that you guys have in Hanzo and Raynor is very auto attack focused. So you guys have a lot of frontline burn. So I think the vast majority of this game, your playstyle should be about getting the kill on whatever the closest target is, whether that be a Nubrak, Sonya, or maybe an out of position Phoenix, and then continuing from there. You have the slows from the Blaze that you can potentially chase the back line. But overall, I really don't want to see diving the back line too much, and I think there's going to be it's going to be mostly about countering a Nubrak and Sonya's hard engage of some sort. If they go for a cocoon, recovering from that using bunker or something. Otherwise, yeah, you guys have a lot of crowd control between the ETC, Tyrande, Blaze, that combo. As far as early, mid, late game, I think you guys probably have a very strong early and mid game and maybe not as strong of a late game compared to their team. I think they scale a little bit harder. Their composition is very revolved, I think, around getting a kill on a single target, like blow up with the Li Ming, Anubrak, stuns, Malfruit. Phoenix isn't really part of that fight ethos. That doesn't really make sense for him. But these four heroes with the Sonya Spear, they can try and blow up one target pretty well. So, all right, let's get into this. Is there anything, any particular aspect that you want me to focus on? Which hero would you want me to be paying most attention to?
I don't know.
I guess probably it's best for me. I mean, you guys are the tank and the healer, right?
Yeah, I think Jimmy's in here. He's our Raynor player.
Okay.
This game.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we got 3 players: ETC, Tyrande, and Raynor.
Yep.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna start by paying attention to the ETC. Watch those cooldowns. Where is he? Too
I
fast.
also know as Raynor, I was out of position a lot this game.
Okay.
I found it very difficult to get into a good position.
Turn you up a little bit.
You can call that out.
All right. I will definitely pay attention to the positioning. So the very first decision you guys make is to crash mid 5. You do have the Hanzo, so you have the vision, and you can start getting quest stacks. I don't know if you go for... Okay, you go for W builds here. I think in general with Hanzo currently, the meta is more shifted towards the Q build, but if you're good with your scatters, then I'm okay with this. Let's take, we'll watch. I guess you're not... Hanzo's not here. Alright, so you guys want to get this wave cleared down quickly. So the only hero that's on your team that really has a lot of... Let me turn the sound down really quick. The only hero that has a ton of wave clear on your team is Blaze at the moment. Hanzo gets his wave clear at level 4, and the rest of you don't really have that much wave clear. So you do get the first wave clear, and it looks like Blaze is heading to the bot lane. So ideally, this is the solo laner ideally wants to go to the opposite lane of where the first objective spawns, just as a general rule. It's the furthest away from where the majority of your team is going to want to be prioritizing. But that's okay. Phoenix has first rotation to top side. Who are you going to have sent? Hanzo? Okay. I'd probably rather have the Raynor be the one who's splitting off, just because Raynor has self-healing.
Yeah, we were going to have the Raynor go get the camp at 50 seconds.
Sure, absolutely. That's fine. I think you can leave either a tank or a healer in the mid lane to just be the one to catch the mid soak while you're doing this. So like I'd almost even rather see 2 people up here or 3 people coming up here, maybe looking for the Phoenix kill, then going for the camp and then bolstering mid. Because at this point of the game, the mid lane is just about catching the soak at the very, very beginning. So they look like they're sort of doing this with their Nubrak. Okay, now ETC is the one that's soloing this. One person goes for the vision. No vision? I would take the vision. Okay, so you go for the camp. That's good, but not having the vision here is a little bit risky. Their composition doesn't really have like a super invade type comp, so it's not the worst, but it wouldn't hurt to take this vision, especially since Tyrande, you were coming over this way. You don't have to actually help with the camp because this camp doesn't do any damage if you can stutter step it, but you might as well grab the eye because all the lanes are being covered for soak. So you might as well grab the vision. Nothing else to do.
Right.
The other question is, are you guys planning on doing this camp early game? Do you want to get that out or do you want to time it for the objective? So because the objective spawns on the bottom side of the map, they have a disadvantage. Okay, so their camp is going to push on the same side as the objective is on. Your camp is going to push on the opposite side. So that means that they have to keep somebody up here to respond if you time this correctly. So perfect play for this map is, in this case, not capping this camp immediately. You can do it now, but I would leave it up. Make sure you have this vision capped and cap it so that it's timed correctly with this objective. So in that situation, instead of doing this one first, you guys can go for the mid camp first. If you devote enough resources to it, you don't really have the best camp takers, but if you spend 2 or 3 people to take this pretty early on, very fast, that'll free you up to time this one perfectly for the next objective top. Okay. So you got the vision with the owl here. And they got a little bit spooked by that, but that just slows it down a little bit. That's about it. So you cap it immediately, which I wouldn't recommend. In this situation, it's going to lead to Phoenix having free clear of it and still have time to probably rotate. And this lane is starting to hurt. Phoenix is a really tough solo laner, especially with a non-traditional solo laner against him. Okay, quiet moment of the game. Alright, so you guys are going to be able to clear out the bottom camp pretty safely. Okay, so you guys are timing this pretty well. I think that you guys needed to do this a little bit faster, but I think it's okay. You want to make sure you are in time to get positioning on the camp. And it looks like you're going to have to miss this soak as well. Okay, but you have the camp pushed out. They do not. So this is an advantage for you guys. And you guys do have first rotation, even though you're split. Blaze can finish clearing this wave so that they have to deal with this. And then the rest of you can essentially collapse on here. I wouldn't wait inside this bush, maybe just for vision and then leave. But you're too far away here to be of any use. Like if you go for... You'd have to end up using your power slide defensively if you get caught there. So it's better to just be grouped. In this situation, if you run down here, you can maybe zone out the Anubrak and get the fast cap here. Yeah, and they see that you're isolated, so they're going to collapse on you. It's probable that you can survive this because you still have power slide, but yeah. So this doesn't. I don't agree with this positioning up here. When you're anchoring with a hero like ETC, it can be good for stalling. For, let's say that you got a boss being capped or whatever, and you can stall the rotation. That's fine. But a large number of them went around, and the very first person that comes by, the Anubrak, is the one that you need to stop because he's the one that stalled the objective. At this point, flanking from this side from as the ETC, I also don't agree with, because I think Sonya... Okay, Sonya's up here. Never mind. You're okay. You're safe to do it. So the moment Sonya shows that she wants to go clear, that's your cue to step up and go for it. I think Phoenix is a little bit out of position. If you can get a power slide on her, that should be... Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you guys stack your stuns a little bit, but I'm okay with that. It's worth it to cancel the Phoenix here. Now I just need to make sure we're landing all of our damage on this. A little bit better body blocks could be done here, but it's still plenty to get the kill. Okay. We get the objective capped, we get the kill, and that's all because of this camp, right? Timing that correctly, having Sonya not be there swings that tide. Blaze needs to be the one to rotate out of this lane at this point. Leaving him in the same lane is really bad here. Unless everyone else is going to leave, but I'd rather just see Blaze be the one to peel out. Hanzo should not be the solo lane for this game. Alright, so Blaze stays bottom, you guys rotate to mid. So there's really nothing for you guys right now on the map to do. So the best case scenario for you guys, like they want to be doing this camp. If all things are equal, like this is what is available for them to do. So it actually wouldn't be, it's actually not that bad for you guys to be pushing bot lane. I would have sent Blaze to the mid lane or the top lane. Ideally you have Blaze rotate all the way to top. You have Hanzo or Raynor stay mid, catch the soak, and then the 3-man stay bot lane and pressure towers. What that does is it prevents them from going for this camp without losing the bot wall, because it's too far away for them to defend the bottom and take the camp. They have to stay bottom. If they stay bottom, that's fine. They're just not doing their camp, which is good for you guys, because that camp, if they time it correctly, could secure them the second objective the same way the first one was secured for you guys. Two people bottom. So you guys can play relatively aggressively up here. So the spawn is up here. So they do go for this camp, but they're pretty late. So this is very important for you guys to be getting to this objective early on, establishing position, going for an early cap, because they're going to take this too late if they stay and try and do it. And they are. Yeah, they're committing to it. So they might have to give this objective. I wouldn't be surprised. But you guys need to go. Okay, so once again, I see too much of a difference in rotation between the front, the ETC here, and the rest of the team. It's fine for the ETC to be the first one, you should be, but not by this much. It needs to be like half that distance. The rest of your team should be around here. They should have followed you just directly behind you. And if they're not that close, it means you have to back up. You can't go ahead that fast. Even though you're doing the right thing, it's if you get caught, because they have this vision right now, they could potentially be somewhere around here behind a bend and around the corner, and if they are, you could get chunked out before the fight even starts, and that could lose the objective. Alright, so they do cap this relatively quickly because they committed a bunch of resources to it, but you have the vision and the positioning. So now the question is, is it possible to stall this? I think it's possible. You need to have Blaze stall this side and ETC stall this side. It's possible. It is. Hanzo's not there. That's not good. I still think it's possible with Tyrande immediately capping, and if you had Blaze in position here and ETC zoning this side. Maybe. Oh no, they're on this side. Never mind. 100% not possible. Not, especially not without Hanzo there. Okay. So now the goal is go for pick. So Sonya is the one that's in range of everything. We do have power slide. I think if you commit all in on Sonya, I don't know for certain that she dies. I mean, you do have a lot of damage with the frontline killing, but if she gets to spin after a stun, we do have jet propulsion still, but there's a root right here, so this is a little bit iffy. You go for the slide, but yeah. Okay, so this is not great. You guys are very much so in a retreat path. Raynor's separated from the rest of the team. I think you have no choice but to give this, especially since you have this mid pushing. So at this point, cut your losses, try and get out without any further deaths, and try and clear mid. Don't continue to contest. Good. So yeah, exactly the same situation as last time. Whoever timed a camp correctly is the one that gets rewarded. Can Rainer survive? Yep. Good. So you need some wave clear for this 4-man here. I'm assuming Hanzo goes for the wave clear 4. Yeah, good. And he's almost done with his quest. That's pretty good. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, doing okay on globes. A little bit low stacks on Tyrande, but that's because there hasn't been very much fighting. Been mostly macro game. This camp is back available after this gets cleared. I like this. You're clearing the wave, but tanking it with your body instead of letting it crash on the wall. So it's really good. I would suggest not being quite so close to this bush here. You could probably still be doing it around here. But I like the idea. All right, Rainer goes for the capture. Unfortunately, this next one is over here, which is not best for this, but it is good positioning for you in terms of it's on your side of the map. You guys are exactly the same place XP-wise, so Hanzo, once again, is all the way in the opposite lane. I feel like this is just a solo lane issue. It feels like the solo lane is always the opposite of where the solo lane should be. You really don't want to have your Hanzo be so isolated and far apart and not able to follow up on at the start of a team fight. They do have 2 people down here, so this is useful information. They have a camp pushing down the bot side, so this is not fun for you guys. They have a massive advantage in terms of the camp location. They can give up this objective if they need to, and they can get almost guaranteed the wall, and I would suggest that they probably also go for the Hanzo kill. He doesn't have natural agility. Yeah, these abilities are up. If Li Ming can land a combo with a new Brack, Hanzo's probably dead. If I'm on their team, I'd hard push bottom, give the objective, see what happens. Oh, looks like they're gonna rotate. Doesn't really make much of a difference because this is still going to be pushing. Okay, Hanzo leaves though, so you guys are going for the contest here. Fast cap as soon as it's up. Okay, you still have owl. I would owl before you start capping, just so you have full vision. You already have somebody sitting here, and you have people up here. So I think the only remaining angle is down here. So you could have potentially dismounted a new Brack or whatever with an owl before you start to cap.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's going to cost you not getting the fast cap, actually. Once again, this is just a little too far, I feel like, to be separated from your team as the ETC. You might not die for it, but it's just you're not providing as much value as you might if you were closer to your team. I think this objective doesn't look great for you guys so far. Hanzo's here, but he's kind of zoned out. He's also less than half HP somehow. He got chunked out somewhere. Sonya's 100% zoning this guy out, so he can't really contribute to the fight. Also, Hanzo is your primary poke damage, so Hanzo needs to be like here, banking the scatters off of this wall, preventing them from going for the objective. This is a decent choke right here for landing skill shots. I'd like to see Blaze be the one who's on this side, zoning out the approach from the Sonya, ETC on the upper side, Hanzo somewhere around here with the scatters. So yeah, this is just very strange to me as far as having Hanzo be basically your solo laner. That's what the positioning and the macro decision making has shown so far. So you guys both get 10. You don't go for bunker, you go for combustion. Okay. Is this something that's discussed as the team, or like, how does this work?
Yeah, I think we wanted to go for a combustion into arrow.
Okay.
Kind of get a stun into a bunch of big damage.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think I don't think you're missing damage between these two here. They're both very high damage output heroes. So I don't think the damage is necessary. I guess if you're taking it for this crowd control, you still have, I'm assuming, Mosh Pit. Do you guys go for Mosh?
No, I didn't go for Mosh
Okay.
because they had enough interrupts for me to not think I would get enough value.
They do go Repulsion, yeah, for sure. Or not Repulsion, but Wave of Force. Interrupt, yeah. Spear and Cocoon, Stun, and yeah. That's fair. I think that's totally viable. Stage Dive also gives your team the global. I think that's pretty good. Okay. The Combustion I'm not sold on, just because their composition is very... It's important for them to get the kill and then, like, in a very short window of time. So if Bunker can save somebody's life, 100% you win that team fight. Your damage is very sustained damage over time with slows and stuns. Their damage is very bursty. Somebody gets out of position, they flip the switch, land their CC, and it dies. If you can save someone with that Bunker, the fight turns guaranteed. So I do think a Bunker could have been more valuable here. So far, the zoning looks good at this point now. And you guys successfully get that. This whole time, however, the bot has been pushing, so you're going to lose the wall and potentially more. Blaze has to be the one to rotate. Has to be the first one to rotate. So he's not here right now, but you guys need to pass along the message. After an objective, he has to be the first person to leave. In this situation, you do have the ETC global, so it's possible that you guys could have the global take over as the solo lane position. They're in position right now to clear this and then potentially go for the boss. So what I'd like to see is definitely to have somebody, but in this case, maybe your global, down here to clear this up, and then you still need to be able to keep tabs on this boss or go for the race on the other side. So you can either trade boss or you can look for a fight. Since you have the global, I think looking for the fight is okay. But they're in the mid right now, so they're not going to go for the boss. This whole bot is really suffering, though. Once again, Hanzo, the solo laner. This is rough. Hanzo is in a lot of trouble here. If Anubrak wasn't mid, this guy's dead. Guaranteed. Honestly, I'm surprised that they're not playing even more aggressively right now. Okay. They get the free fort here. You guys captured the mid. It's not timed perfectly, though. This one is not going to be at the exact... Like, they'll have time to clear it and then go for the objective. So I'm not crazy about it. I'd say that because you went for this camp, I think the next best thing is to go for the race of this boss, because they have to clear this or potentially go for their own boss. I strongly doubt that they would go for an invade because of the fact that you got this camper out already. Because if they come and you try and contest, you can just back off and wait and play passive and wait until they decide, oh, we still have to clear mid or whatever else. And then more importantly, the boss will be timed correctly for the next objective. 30 seconds later. Uh-oh. Jimmy's left alone on rotation. He's gone. Once again, you have your two damage dealers that are separated from the rest of the team. So that's just poor planning as far as macro goes. You definitely want to have your squishier damage dealers always able to be supported by the tank or the healer or both. So you guys are looking for this boss play now. So I still think the boss play before was good. This is still fine because you know you have vision of them clearing the mid and you know that they're going to capture this. A new brack is here, but they're split. So the question is, can you guys potentially kill this guy? If not, you might have to just back off because it's too soon. I think you guys just go for the back off. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And so now ETC has vision. A new brack E goes down. He's probably just going to cocoon Tyrande, though. And by the time that you got the rest of the team collapses, this is looking very bad. If he doesn't cocoon immediately, I'm very disappointed. Okay. It's very late, but it's still probably really good for their team. This fight is Let's see. Your team is, once again, the same story. Your damage dealers, your primary damage dealers are separated from the rest of the team and sort of somewhat low, somewhat zoned out of the fight. Even if you guys land all the CC in the world on this Sonya, it's not going to die because you don't have damage to follow it up. So you have to be more conscious of supporting each other positioning-wise. Arrow whiffs. We still have combustion available. It is a 5 versus 5, but yeah, your damage are just screwed here. Hanzo gets out. Raynor gets out. All right, Sonya, turn around. So once you guys all were on the same side, same path, you were immediately able to secure a kill on the front line. That's pretty good. Combustion looks like it could get some pretty good value. Okay, Blaze goes down for it. Power slide for the damage and the slow. Okay. We still have a power slide. He has his blink still. We have a Tyrande stun too. This guy could die if you get both. Yeah. No power, no Tyrande stun.
Yeah.
I bet I didn't call it.
Sure. Just in general, anytime something gets power slid, jet propulsion, any stun, just immediately follow up. And this is very important when you're playing ETC Tyrande, is not to use face melt after your stun. You gotta trust that your Tyrande will follow up. Okay, you do land the stun, so that's decent. All right, that turned out way better than it had any right to. I suspect that if Anub'arak immediately cocooned the Tyrande, this fight looks very different. But good job, guys. You guys are all pretty chunked, but I think most of you have taps. I wouldn't use the jump there. It's a 30-second cooldown, so it's just all right. Getting a lot of chunk damage. So there's only 2 people here. It's spawning in 3 seconds. I would have only Tyrande be the one that's back here, ready to cap, and then the rest of the 3 people can look for a pick right now. Like if this Malf is out of position, if ETC is standing in a bush and looks to power slide Malfurion, and the 2 damage dealers are close enough to follow up, this guy's dead. Yeah, I don't like this at all. They have Sonya and Anub'arak not here. This ultimate is primarily useful as a zoning tool / structure push. It does the majority of its damage to structures. So this is going to do a little bit of structure damage down here, but I'd much rather see it either during a larger team fight or for structure damage to aid a push or something of that nature. In this situation, I don't think this was necessary at all. I think you can absolutely capture this before they arrive if you correctly zone. These 2 heroes are playing way too aggressive based on the numbers, 4 versus 2, or at the very least 3 versus 2 if you're going for a capture. So I definitely think that was not needed. You do get the power slide on the Malfurion, but there's only Hanzo following up. He's crazy. He walks in further. He might die for it. Tyrande stun's good, and that does secure, because he went for the root, I guess. So you guys secured the objective, which is really good. But I think this could have been a lot cleaner in terms of execution, of zoning out and having Tyrande be the one to cap instead of Raynor, so that you can have enough damage to burn whatever is caught out. All you need is a power slide. I know it's nice to have the Lunar Flare follow-up, but I'd rather have the damage present. All right. This jet propulsion needs to be closer to the gate, I think. Yeah. But you guys can just run him down at this point, 100%. And Anub'arak just used his E, so everybody should be focusing Anub'arak first. He has no escape for 13 seconds. I think this guy dies every time. So we have good body blocks, good knockback. Hanzo arrow's probably not needed, but that's okay. We also have stage dive coming up in 10 seconds. It's very important to catch as much of the soak during the curse as possible. You definitely don't want to be 5-man pushing if you can avoid it. So having 4-man in this lane is fine. I think ETC needs to try and make his way to the mid somehow, or the top, either one. Since you have a global and they don't, and you also have 3 people dead, I think it's pretty safe that you guys can actually go for the bot keep. I don't know why Hanzo is going mid or Blaze. I'd love to see you guys continue to push this bot lane as 4 and try and secure the bot keep, while ETC heads to mid, catches the soak from this, potentially tries to take a fort with the next wave of minions, and if they have people here, they lose a keep. If they don't have people here, you take the fort for free, and then make your way to the top fort. They still have to clean up all the minions in the bot lane, so that you should get both forts for free, if not get the keep. Let's take a look and see how this goes.
I think we kind of end up getting the keep.
Kind of. All right, we'll see.
We don't kind of. We do end up getting the keep, but not at the cost that we could have had it.
But you got a Hanzo solo lane up here. I don't know. So they don't defend the bot because you guys aren't pushing the bot, so it's just a raw minion wave pushing the bot. Let's take a look. So you guys get the Phoenix kill in mid. That's nice. It is good. So you guys are once again forming. I just hate that you have Hanzo top so much. Having, you know, traditionally it's your solo laner that splits off because that's the hero that has the most tools for survival and whatnot. But in this case, you have your global available too. So either the global or the solo laner would be so much better to have in the off lane. Hanzo can be doing max PvE damage to structures, and if they try and step up, you have a stage dive that you can just collapse on them with. All right, so yeah, there's no chance that this gets a keep right now with this curse. You do get the fort, you get a pick, and the bottom. So you get 2 forts so far. I think maybe you can go for the 3rd since you have some people showing down here. It's not too bad. If you get 3 forts, it's okay. I still think it could have been done better, but I'll take it. Nobody died on your team. Pretty safe. You got the vision down here. All right, and now you got to get out. Okay, so this is not the best fight for you guys. You guys are a little bit far away from your base. They have a flank opportunity, so this is... Do we have Tyrande Owl? Yeah, so I want to see the Sentinel be used to light up this path more. The vision from Hanzo was decent. It was somewhere around here, so it showed sort of like this area right now. But it's gone already, and definitely would be nice to know if you're going to get flanked. You see the Sonya hard engaging, and you don't see anything besides Li Ming here, so you can assume that they must be coming from somewhere else. Otherwise, the Sonya is committing suicide. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so they go for the hard engage. ETC gets cocooned. I think you guys could be okay here. What's important is Hanzo backs off enough to land a good dragon arrow, and Blaze needs to use his Pyromania pretty quickly. Don't love the jet propulsion, but okay. Blaze probably dies for that mistake. Yes, okay. All right. Other than that, do you guys get a trade kill here maybe? Probably not. Oh, power slide's down. Okay. All right, stage dive.
I think it got interrupted by Cocoon.
I
or
see.
Something along those lines.
Got it. Fair enough. So I think that the problem here was 2 things. One, not backing up fast enough. When the fort's that low and you have some minions under it, just leave it at 2% and it'll die. More importantly, if you're going to leave, the people who have no mobility, like the Raynor, the Hanzo, the Tyrande, those people need to be the first to leave. Have the Blaze and the ETC be the last to back up, just so that because they have the disengage tools. And then, of course, having the vision, having an owl down this path would have helped you guys better. It would have allowed, if you have that vision, Blaze puts down an oil spill down here, or ETC walks down and uses his W to interrupt Inubrak from diving in, potentially. There's just a few things that could have been done a little bit cleaner, but all in all, 1 kill. It's not the end of the world. They are going to get the boss now, though. You guys can do probably both camps. I think both camps is a decent play. I don't think you can race the boss because you're just too far away from it right now. You're also showing Hanzo up here. So that's not possible. So it does look like you guys are going for the double boss play, or double camp play rather. They're probably going to look to go for the double boss. I think. Question is, do you guys try and contest them on the boss, or do you just give it to them if they go for it? I think it's pretty safe to give it to them. It's possible you could try and postpone it since you have a double camp about to be pushing. It's a good oil spill. So yeah, this is pretty good. You have some vision here. Let's take a look at the vision from G Money. I can't zoom out. There we go. Okay. So this is... Yeah, you have your boss pushing the top lane. Once again, would love to see the ETC taking advantage of having a global. So far, this game, you haven't used it as a global. You've primarily used it to help with team fighting or to escape from a bad situation. And that just has to do with you being the person who goes off to the off lane instead. Because right now this boss is likely to get the fort, although you do have the siege camp, which will help clear it faster. I think it would have been much nicer to have ETC trying to clear this, prevent the fort from going down, and then stage dive into this team fight to, if you're going to contest, try and get 16 first. All right. Arrow looks nice. I would stage dive as well. It's not up yet. Okay. Power side is good. Knockback is good. Combustion is a little unnecessary. Yeah, it doesn't really do much there. I think this is a dead Sonya as well. Okay. You guys do a really good job on the team fight. You execute well. That's very good. Boss is available. One person needs to clear this. There's a lot of soak down here. This is already taken care of. Does look like I think the siege and the kata helped you a lot there. You're going to still have that fort for a bit, I think. Alright, Blaze catches this heavy wave down bottom. You guys grab the boss, grab the objective. Hanzo backs for mana. I don't know if he needs to. With this globe, he's going to be at 45%. For Hanzo, that's okay. You guys, so ETC should be first and foremost running for this vision. They have 2 dead right now, so it's pretty safe to step up to this vision. And then maybe looking to see if they're taking this camp. There's a boss pushing in this lane, so if they're doing this camp right now, you guys want to try and invade it. I wish Hanzo didn't back and you guys had only Tyrande staying here. Once again, you have Owl. Send the Owl. Send the Owl.
I think I send it eventually, maybe.
What's that? Let's take a look.
Maybe eventually I send it.
No, you just go for the cap.
After I cap, yeah.
Yeah. But once again, this is really bad to have your Raynor first. He's doing the right thing, but it should be ETC instead, or it should have the Owl coming out first. And we needed to have Hanzo with the team. Boss push. They grab this camp, so you guys can safely go for this camp. So you do send the Owl eventually. It's just too late though at this point. You have full vision of their team up here. So if they try and invade from here, they're going to go from this corridor. So ideally you have ETC to zone. But this is, I don't think you can take this very quickly. This is a little awkward. You know they're going to come from this way. Right? Nope, they're not. Okay. So they're going to purely try and go back defensively and go for the defense on the boss. So I think you guys can hard commit with this boss. I think you can ignore the mid. It's going to push on its own. But a boss pushes more with a siege camp is really nice. Plus you have Hyperion. I would rip the Hyperion. Ideally, you want to be standing roughly here when you send it so that it's headed in the direction of the buildings. Stays under it for the longest time. You want the Hyperion to be going out this whole time, though, because you want to zone out the enemy team. You don't want them to be free clearing the boss. Right now, they're getting quite a lot of free damage on the boss that I don't think needs to happen. Definitely need to have that Hyperion come out sooner. Arrow whiffs because it's under the fort area. If it was slightly to the side of the fort, I think that probably lands. Why no Hyperion? What you're holding it for? There it is. Okay. It's just too late. A little bit. But, like, there were towers here. So you can use it to start to kill the towers, zone out the enemy team, and hit the keep as well. Nonetheless, it'll still do maximum damage to the keep, which is okay. A new Brack commits full burrow in. Once again, with your composition, that has to be kill the frontliner. This guy's very vulnerable right now. He's got 60 armor and some shields, but as soon as that goes away, he should die. He's got 9 seconds on his cooldown. Cocoon, he could go for a cocoon on... ideally, he probably has to cocoon Hanzo. Blaze is just diving the backline, which I'm not a huge fan of. As I said before, your team fight has to be sort of focused on killing the frontliner. However, if they spend all 3 of these people trying to deal with the Blaze, then I guess it's okay. You probably can kill the Anubrak nonetheless. Cocoon goes down on Tyrande. But you guys are playing very scared right now. Okay, Power Slide's very good, but the boss is already dead. That's super unfortunate. And now ETC's caught. Very bad position. Okay. Alright, so the combustion's okay here, but once again, a bunker in this position would have been way more valuable. Not only would bunker make it so that the cocoon is not scary in the slightest, but it would also allow you guys to safely stay under the keep. ETC would not have tanked 3-4 keep shots, and that makes your team capable of taking a team fight continually underneath the keep for at least 5 to 10 seconds. You probably get the keep right then and there just with fire from the bunker. So I do think that would have been better. Nonetheless, you guys are all still alive. You land the scatter. Perfect after the good jet propulsion. So with one person dead, at this point you can just stay down here and poke the keep from a distance. This is fine. It's a lot of damage. You have Tyrande? Yep. I would not leave. Don't leave. Don't do it. Stay. Finish this off. It's not hard. This requires staying for another 10 seconds or so. You still have the global. So if let's say that they leave first, in the worst case scenario, you can still have ETC power slide this up top to stall it while the rest of your team makes their way there. But they want to try and defend this too. They're still down here. If they're still down here, you guys can still be down here. And getting this keep is very valuable at this stage of the game. All right, so you guys go for the clear. ETC should be the one to clear. ETC stays bottom. Okay, so you have your global down here to try and finish this. You're not actually hitting it though.
Okay, I had no vision. I was scared.
Gotcha.
Where they were.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
And I was just escorting that the Catan.
Where are you stage diving to? Oh, here.
To
okay.
The bush.
All right. I think it's a little too scared, I would say. They really want to grab this tribute because it's they already have 2. Them showing 2 people down here is them essentially saying, I guess we're giving. They also have Sonya still dead. I don't know. I think you didn't have to be as scared as you were.
Yeah.
That's fine though.
Still no vision on the Anubarak.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to get blown up.
For sure. All right. Tributes are evened up. You have a camp available to you. They have nothing available to them. You just go for the camp. Play safe. Play it slow. Topped off. Good. Try and stutter step when you're doing these camps. Try not to ever take any damage. Hanzo's a little bit alone. I think you guys spend a little bit too much time wandering the map too far away from other members. You want to be maximum auto attack range from your tank typically. Like, this is the correct distance that you want to be behind your front runner. Okay, so you guys are actively looking for an engage here. I don't like that. I think that that's a mistake. You guys do see a Nubrak over here, and you have Malfurion up here, but this would be okay if you had your damage closer to the ETC. If everyone's here, this is amazing. But right now it looks like Anubrak could probably get here before the fight finishes. And you're taking a level 19 to 18 fight, which is not really an advantage for you guys. They want to fight more than you do. So I'm not a huge fan of this. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this is probably the better kill target just for the amount of time it takes to kill. Even though you don't have your damage here yet, I just think I'd still rather see you guys go for this. So booping away the Malfurion to safety is not ideal. Looks like you're purely trying to go for the Sonya because he's further out on the map, but he's so much harder to kill. Hanzo jumps over the wall. Yeah, it's just, it's a mess. Like having Raynor be this far away now. He can't help with the fight. Okay, we have a combustion secured. We already used the arrow. Malfurion and Anubrak has arrived before the fight is over. You get the Malfurion kill. I would have liked to see you guys go for the Malfurion first, because I think if you focus him first, there's no chance Anubrak arrives in time, and that works out better. Even if it's just Blaze and ETC on a Malfurion, if he's out of position, I think he still dies. Cocoon goes out. This fight's not over yet. If a reset happens... Yeah, there's a reset. There's several resets. That's a lot of resets. Okay. Alright. Stage dive saves you. Once again, you're still using your stage dive very passively. Almost never for the intended purpose. I mean, it's saving your life, so that's okay. But I'd much prefer to see you use it more aggressively to get stage dive value, the global value. So that's... I definitely didn't like going for this play unless you guys are all grouped up, and it was only viable because Anubrak was showing mid, but you guys just weren't together. You guys weren't on the same page, and so it took way too long to get that advantage of having a kill. By the time you guys got the kill, some people on your team were already low, Anubrak had the perfect flank, and Li Ming was able to get resets. So this is a bit of a throw, since you guys were a full level up, and you still are a full level up, but you have 3 people dead, 2 people dead. 3-2 trade with them getting the curse. They're going to have 20 with this curse now, and it'll be sort of reset. You won't have much of an advantage anymore. You'll still have the keep down, but I think that they can easily grab this fort and probably this fort as well. So they're going to have forts down. I doubt they'll get a keep from this curse, but they'll still get their 20s. If I'm on their team, I think I'd probably go for the top boss after, like, in 10-15 seconds, I would go for the top boss if I'm on their team. Bot boss is up in 50 seconds, yeah. So they could go for 1 or 2 bosses. If they do this one right now, for the next 20 seconds, your team has no choice but to clear. Normally, it's really bad to do a boss during a curse, but in this position, at this stage of the game, bosses are more powerful than curses generally. So having, at least while all the forts are down, in order to get keeps, generally speaking, bosses are a lot better. So grabbing this boss for their team right now would allow them to either push with it and get the top keep, or take the second boss, force you guys to clear the top boss, and then try and maybe end with the second boss with the 20 talents here. Same talent. Does look like that's where they're heading. Good, the owl goes out, and you have the vision of the boss. You guys try and contest this. You have ETC stage dive, yep. Stage dive goes down. Arrow does connect, it's the global arrow. But they have Malfurion roots already down. Blaze has to get on the point. Good. Okay, big combustion value, but he's stepping off the point. Oof, just barely. Okay. Cocoon goes out. Reset on an ETC already. So the ETC stage dive was just a little too early. So I'm gonna take a quick look at that again, because the owl did give vision, and that's really how you have to plan your timing. the reason why you died is because you just went in a little too fast. So we have the owl come in. You see what the health is at, and you start using your stage dive now. Okay, I sort of get, because you didn't have vision for a little bit of time there, but it's, yeah, ideally you wanted to use it just a little bit later, just so you have a little more time. Okay, let's see how this fight goes. So Combustion lands on quite a few. Their point is almost captured, so they have to keep Blaze on the point. Raynor and Hanzo are sort of stuck here. Yeah, this is rough. Okay, focus is going out onto the Sonya, but she still has Ignore Pain. There's no chance of getting that kill early on. This doesn't look good. I don't know how you guys could win this. Sonya waits to use her armor really long, so that may have been... Yeah, it's a huge mistake from the Sonya not using her Ignore Pain until 5%. Raynor is alive? Okay, so this game should have been over. How did Li Ming die? I didn't even see that one. Do not understand how Li Ming goes down here. So the Combustion's doing some damage. Oh, beautiful scatter. Holy mother of God. That was fantastic. All right. So that, the Sonya making a mistake and the really nice scatter on the Li Ming allows you guys to not be out of the game, essentially. If those people are still alive, I think the game's over, because they can push with this, prevent you from hitting the boss, get the keep, and go on for the core. Instead, it looks like they're going to maybe try to go for the second. No, they go for the invade. Okay. All right. So then it becomes sort of a reset. Now that the plays are going to be sort of revolving around this positioning, since this boss is down. You just got to make sure that this boss is not able to be taken by either team. You have the global, so you can push out this top lane. You have catapult pressure pushing in the bot lane. And the rest of you just kind of want to chill here. Perfect. So I'd love to have seen you guys kind of be a little bit more cheeky here, just sitting in this bush, only Hanzo showing here. Make him think that it's okay to dive this, and then hard turn it on the Anubrak. So they're all still down here, yeah. Push this out as ETC. This one thing about stage dive is that it's not like a lot of other globals that have a sort of a range on it or limitations. Stage dive has no limitations. It can take you anywhere, all the way from the very tippy top of the map to the tippy bottom. So keep that in mind. Okay, you go back. Definitely need to be careful of the flank here. So yeah, Blaze has to cover this angle. Keep an eye on the boss. The objective is up here. This is curse point for you guys, but I honestly wouldn't be... I don't think it would be that bad to give it. I mean, you can contest it, but contesting this one doesn't really do anything. It's just putting a 50-50 chance on who wins the game. Whichever team wins this team fight right now, if there's a team fight, should win the game, I think. Depending on how many kills are had, I guess. But any kills whatsoever means that this boss is free to take. They need to capture 3 of these before the next time that they get something. So I'd much prefer to see you guys give this. So stage dive is used here. Definitely not... nobody is a guaranteed target for it, so I'm not a huge fan of that. It's also a little too early. The objective hadn't actually spawned yet, and not enough of their team are showing. So a new brick hard engages on 2 targets here. These both your damage. Yeah, these are both your damage. Same exact story as the early game, right? You have your damage isolated, and then you have your utility isolated over here. And these two don't work separated at all. You have to have them combined. The crowd control doesn't mean anything if you don't have damage to back it up. Alright, the arrow comes out. It's decent, but the boss is aggroed, so Hanzo might get chunked a little. The combustion comes out. It's going to go for the front line. Looks like that should be a new Brack. Boss is actually... Okay, that Tyrande ultimate saves Hanzo's life, I think. Alright, Rainer's still dead. Resets are happening. Power slide is decent. But this is a overall net loss for sure. This is tough. Do they go for this boss? I don't think you can give the boss. I think you have to try and 3v4 while they try and do the boss. You need vision. Owl. This needs to be visioned up. Vision it up. Okay, this is really rough. Right now, you guys have to be splitting their focus more. Right now, Hanzo is helping them with this boss. Oh man, this is rough. I don't know how this possibly works in your favor. Yeah. Okay. So this is a classic mistake, I would say. When there's a boss fight going on and you have one less player than the other team, it's possible to contest, but not after the boss is dead. When the boss is dead, it's just a straight up 3 versus 4 that you're probably not going to win. But while the boss is alive, if you're positioned correctly, it's no longer really a 3 versus 4. It's a 3 plus a boss versus 4. If they want to continue to try and take the boss, they have to have at least one person dealing with the boss, tanking the boss, while the rest of you are causing trouble for them. So what that means is that I think you have to have ETC approaching from the other side up here. You need to have the Tyrande with the owl, so you have the vision. Hanzo can look for the better angles with the scatters. And you guys had to do that before the boss got that low. So this was definitely a misplay overall. Okay, but nobody dies, thankfully. Boss pushing bot lane is guaranteed keep minimum. They don't push with it, though. Wow, it's crazy that they don't push with it at all. I guess they have a new Brack back here. Okay, fair enough. So you get the free clear. At this stage of the game, though, it's pretty insane. No keep there. Got the vision on Sonya. Camp taken. Okay, this is cursed point now. You guys are all staying in the bot lane. This is where the next objective is spawning, so you want to have the majority of your team getting better positioning. You guys want to have this positioning right now. ETC can stay down here because he's got the global, but they're going to have this camp and whatnot. You guys are going to have to clear that out. Yeah, you guys are wasting a lot of time in this bot lane. Okay, take the camp that neutralizes the mid, but you don't have positioning for this. You guys are going to give up a curse. Us is almost 100% guaranteed. This is... Oh boy, look at the distance that you guys are separated from the rest of your team, and they have vision of this too because they have this camp here. I guess they might be going for boss right now. Did you have owl? Yeah, you have owl. They might be on boss. It's possible. No, they're just doing this. So if I'm them, I just 100% focus the ETC because I saw how far apart he is from the rest of the team. Okay, owl is used for stall here. Okay, so you're starting to recover from the poor start of the positioning. Web goes down. Okay. Web broken. They're just... Ah, they used Tranquility. Okay, stage dive comes out on the backside here. What 20 do you have here? Storm shield.
and shields.
Okay, fair enough. Because, yeah, they were definitely going for kills on you. I do think you could have gone for Bolt or Crowd Pleaser. But, okay. Alright, so the arrow comes out down here. It's very... Hold on. Let me take a look at that. Is the arrow, like, melee distance?
Yeah, he's not good at backing up to get his arrows.
Yeah, you gotta plan before you... Like, you gotta know that you want to use your arrow a few seconds in advance and just back it up. Let's take a look. All right, so I want to see the moment you decide to stage dive. Okay. Okay. So in this situation, Nubrak still has his E, so he's not really a viable target. Li Ming is an okay target. She can blink over the wall to safety, most likely. Almost definitely. But if she blinks over the wall, that at the very least zones her out of the fight for a little bit. So you could potentially try and collapse on maybe Malfurion at the top side. Let's see. Yeah, it's a melee arrow. Okay. Not ideal. Hanzo's now caught in a precarious position. ETC's in a very precarious position.
Yeah, at this point I was just attempting to solicit as much attention as I could in hopes that they could do something.
Right.
But that Sonya just ate them up in the back line.
100%. So once again, I'm going to draw you back to the very first thing that I said when I looked at your composition. Do you remember what it was?
Whittle down the front line.
Your composition is all about killing the front line, pairing up your crowd control with your auto attack damage. What I didn't want to see is diving for the back line. So this is almost guaranteed not to work, I suspect, just because ETC in the middle of your team, probably ETC is going to die. Almost guaranteed you can't get a kill. Sonya in your back line, different story. Sonya can get kills. Let's see if you guys can get the Sonya kill. ETC goes down. Sonya gets out before dying. Malfurion's very low. It's close. A lot of people are very low, but yeah. 4 for nothing. Yeah, okay, so I think first and foremost, the problem here was not getting in positioning for this objective. It was kind of disrespectful to be showing so many people down here. And you guys stayed in the bot side of the map and went for a camp here when I think you guys needed to press up, clear the camp immediately in the mid, and then get your positioning. You do have the vision with the owl, so it's pretty safe to step up to these places. They can't bush gank you if you've got the Tyrande arrow. At this point, the game's over. I think that the arrow could have been obviously better if it wasn't in the melee range. I think the stage dive could have been probably a little bit better. But more importantly, once you power slid this direction, that fight was pretty much over. You just have to think of your composition. Every time your composition succeeded was when all 5 of you were focused on the same target and you are slowly pressing up. That's how your composition works. You slowly press up and you kill whatever is in the front. You have the slows, you have the stuns, and you have the auto attack damage to follow it up. So definitely a matter of understanding what your composition strengths are and not playing into what they have. And that should be it. Big arrow. Not enough. Okay, so what, do you guys have any questions for me?
No, not really. I guess what other making calls quicker, not diving when we don't have the damage around, like they're just a bunch of things that I understand that I'm doing wrong, but I still do them wrong, which is the worst part.
So the rotating together as a group is something that has to be, it's hard to communicate that. It's much easier to just get it through practice. If the ETC says...
Practice.
Yeah, practice. When ETC wants to rotate, or the tank wants to rotate, you just can't rotate unless your team is within a certain distance from you. That's sort of how you have to think. And ideally, your team will be quick enough to follow up as soon as you're ready to go. But if they're not, you have no choice. You have to stay behind a little bit and wait until they are. More than anything, that means that your team has to speed up. That means that they have to be mounting as soon as they can. It means that that they have to be following up with pings. If you ping that you're going somewhere, everybody needs to be paying attention and following up with that. I don't think I saw. I couldn't see pings. I'm assuming you guys are voice comms for, in this situation up here where you saw the Malfurion and the Sonya, and you had the Anubrak in the mid lane. In that situation, the communication has to be a lot clearer. Having, Reynard be down here while you guys are taking a team fight over here is really rough because Reynard just has no path. He can't get over the wall. He can't do anything. In that situation, I think you still had Arrow too. So I would have loved to see you guys commit to the Malfurion with just a Hanzo Arrow and Blaze and ETC being the damage to kill the Malfurion before this fight even happens there. Otherwise, yeah, getting positioning on objectives is really important. I think that this curse down here, this curse point down here, that was when they had 0 out of 3. Taking this team fight was just a mistake because of the fact that the boss was right here. It was a risk for you guys that wasn't worth taking. Because if you look at the map, you guys have a keep down in the bot lane, so you have an inherent macro advantage, and you have an ETC with stage dive. So you have a global advantage and a keep advantage with. If the objective or the boss are on that side of the map, it's not worth contesting if it's not even close to the curse point. If it was this boss and this curse point, right? In this situation, it's great for you guys to be up here because you can contest it, play it slow, try and poke, stall the objective. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, you've got catapults pushing down this lane and eventually threatening the core. You could even leave ETC to push the wave out and whatnot. I definitely didn't think you guys got enough value out of stage dive as a global, having the ETC be able to be in the opposite lane of the rest of your team, pushing out the waves. You got some value, but I'd like to see more, especially as soon as level 10 hits. I want to see much, 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 much less of Hanzo being a solo laner. That should almost never happen. If it does happen, it has to be in the middle lane because that's the lane that's closest for all the rotations. You can have people rotating and helping and whatnot. Having him be the first person to rotate out of a lane and catch the soak and whatnot in the farthest lane is a real big problem. I suspect that he's probably a solo lane player at some point because that's the instincts that from a solo laner. What else? I think team fight wise, I think you guys did pretty darn well. I think you played your composition decently, but the main problem from team fighting perspective was just the positioning of the damage versus the utility, the stuns and the heals. You guys just needed to have slightly better positioning for when those team fights broke out. And I do think that, let's take a look at all the talents. I do think that Bunker would have been more impactful overall than the Combustion. The Combustion, I think you got decent value from it, but I think Bunker would have helped more for your team's composition. Your team composition was very much so about surviving the initial onslaught and then turning the tide by sheer PvE DPS, essentially. Just the amount of raw damage that Raynor and Hanzo can put out on a front line is so high that they can't stay in the front line for too long. And so having that Blaze to slow down the fight with a Bunker would have been helpful for that. Stage Dive, I think, was a fine pick. I probably would have done it myself into this composition, so that was fine. Shadowstalk, I think that was okay. I could have seen a world where you go for Starfall against this composition specifically because your goal was to kill the front line. So if they're trying to dive your back line, if you drop that, it's just a disincentive for them to stay in even more. What else? Dragon's arrows. Yeah, I think that arrows, there were a few whiffed arrows this game. I would recommend to the Hanzo player, I would recommend having Dragon Arrow taken off Quick Cast. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's got it on Quick Cast. Putting it on release so that he can plan those arrows better and see the ranges of the different increments for the damage increase and the stun duration increase. That helps a lot for seeing exactly where you want the arrow to land and how powerful you want it to be. Hyperion, I disagree with taking Hyperion for this match overall just because, once again, your composition was all about killing the frontliner, and Hyperion doesn't really do that much to help you do that. Having a Banshee to punish an Anubrak that dives in or have whittle away a Sonya would have been way more impactful, I think, for killing the front line. But more importantly, if you're going to take Hyperion, you have to use it on structures when you're pushing with an objective or pushing with a camp or pushing with a boss. In this bot lane, I think you guys get the keep guaranteed if you use Hyperion immediately and your team plays more aggressively under the Hyperion. It's good to take a team fight underneath Hyperion. It's fantastic. But I think you guys gave up a lot of free damage on the boss in that position, and that allowed the keep to survive for probably a couple minutes maybe, or I forget exactly how long afterwards. Eventually you guys got it with the ETC stage dive, but yeah, so it's a lot of stuff to take in, but there's definitely a lot of things that were well done, but things that can be done to be improved on. I would say of all the things together, the biggest thing to improve on is just which player goes where at what time and how close together you guys are at any given time, just like how ready to follow up on each other you guys are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Any other questions before we end it?
No, I think you did a really good job.
Thank you.
Pointing all that out.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for sending in the replay, guys.
Thanks for
Thanks.
coaching us.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, guys.
Yep, have a good one.